if you're going to say new year, new me, then do that from a place of love. Do that from a place of, what am I going to do this year to let go of things that no longer serve me? So what old patterns from my past am I still holding on to that are preventing me from moving forward? Today I want to talk about this idea of new year, new me. So we are at the end of December. The new year starts in literally 2 days. And so usually around this time of the year, people start to reflect on the year that they've had. They start to think about how they want to change in the upcoming year. And, you know, usually people think about dreams that they've maybe had for a long time, or goals that they've had for a long time. You know, maybe projects that they've been meaning to start, but they haven't started yet. And so that is where new year, new me usually comes in. So we're thinking, in this new year, I want to be this new and improved version of myself. And so over the last maybe 5 years, I've been going through my own internal and external kind of transformation. And something that I've really realized is that this transformation that I've kind of gone through has been a process of being more authentically aligned with who I really am. And that in itself has been a transformation. I think we grow up with so much, you know, conditioning, and we start to really seek our worth, our approval, validation, and acceptance externally, you know. And so sometimes we want to change for the wrong reasons. So growing up throughout my life, every year I would say to myself, this is the year that I'm going to chase my goals. This is the year that I'm going to become the best version of me. This is the year that I'm going to do it. And this is the year that I'm going to be happy. And I would say that every year, but I realized only after a while that all of those goals that I was setting for myself, I was setting those goals from a place of not being satisfied with where I am, not being happy with who I am, and so feeling the need to change who I am so that I can be liked, accepted, approved of, and validated. And a lot of this was unconscious for me, so I had to become aware of that. So in the past 5 years of my life, I've done a lot of healing work on myself, and I've become aware of a lot of what was unconscious for me and what was really holding me back at a core level from fulfilling my potential. So year after year I would set the same goals, and year after year I would not achieve them, because when I was setting the goal, it was from the perspective of lack, from the perspective of not having X, Y, and Z, and as a result not being happy. So I need X, Y, and Z before I can be happy is kind of where I was at for many years. And so the cycle would just repeat itself, and nothing would ever change, because I wasn't changing my identity. I wasn't changing how I saw myself. So because I had low self-worth, I was in that mindset and I had those beliefs about myself, and so that was my reality, and I would make choices in accordance with that. What I realized is that over the years I really started to recognize what I needed and what I needed to change at a core level internally, and that was how I saw myself. So that is where the change really happens, and I only realized it this year. So this whole idea came to me when I was learning about identity shifting. So for years, I would try to implement a change in my life by focusing solely on action and on the external things. And so taking action became the thing that I focused on. I never focused on changing my perspective about myself and changing where I was making this goal from. And what I learned is that you need to start to see yourself as the best version of yourself. So for me, that meant I needed to start looking after myself. I needed to value my health. I needed to stop caring really about what other people thought of me, and I needed to stop thinking about how I look and rather start focusing on my health, right? Just as an example. So instead of focusing on how can I, look good, rather, how can I feel good? How can I feel my best? Focusing on how can I feel better that is focusing on, okay, how can I be healthier? How can I introduce healthy habits into my life? And how can I do this out of a place of self-love? So because I love myself, I'm going to look after myself. Because I love myself, I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to make sure I move. I'm going to make sure I make this a habit. Rather than, how can I look better? How can I look better so that I can be liked? Or how can I look better in order to like myself? You should like yourself already, regardless of how you look. You should like yourself. You should love yourself, in fact. And you should appreciate and accept yourself regardless of how you look. And by the way, when you age, how you look is going to change in any case. So for me, I had the goal in my mind of eating healthy and exercising, but because I was making that decision from a place of self-loathing, I would actually have resistance towards it, because taking care of yourself is an act of self-love. And so that didn't correspond with the core belief that I held at the time, which is that I'm not good enough, which is that I don't love myself. And so because I didn't love myself, I would have the goal of exercising and eating healthy, but I wasn't able to implement it because I hated myself at the time. So when I started to love myself, and when I started to appreciate and accept myself, I started to recognize that I actually want to eat healthy. This is literally how I evolved. I started to want it. I started to enjoy healthy food. I started to want to work out. I started to enjoy working out. And this whole process of transformation did take me a lot of time, and I had to do a lot of work on myself internally because I was in such a dark place. But I believe that any kind of transformation, it should come from a place of wanting what's good for yourself out of a place of self-love. So you should never try to force a change upon yourself from a place of self-hate. If you're going to say new year, new me, then do that from a place of love. Do that from a place of, what am I going to do this year to let go of things that no longer serve me? So what old patterns from my past am I still holding on to that are preventing me from moving forward? Why haven't I started that business that I've had the idea for forever? Why haven't I, started taking care of myself? Why haven't I started connecting more with the people that I care about? Whatever it is that you have in mind in terms of new year, new me, make sure that you're doing that from a place of wanting to grow and expand more authentically. How can I take better care of myself so that I can show up better in my relationships, so that I can show up better at work, perform better in my job or in my business or wherever? Physically, how can I take better care of my mental health? How can I get outside more? How can I just live a better life for myself? And start to think about the habits that new version of you will need to be engaging in. So again, thinking about this from an identity perspective. So if you want to start running, then you need to start perceiving yourself as a runner. If you want to start bodybuilding, if you want to start gymming, you need to change your identity as becoming that version of you. And from that perspective, you can think, how does that ideal version of me live day to day? What are their habits, right? So look to the people who have already achieved your goal and try to see what their habits are and get an idea of what your habits could look like, and then start to work on your habits from that perspective and acting as if you already are that version of yourself. But it is key and it is vital to accept yourself where you are at. You can change who you are. You can become a better version of yourself, but you can really only do that from a place of love, from a place of accepting where you are now, accepting your past, everything that has shaped you into the version of you that you are now, and knowing that this version of you that you are now is good enough. You are good enough now. You can be better, but you are good enough now. And you need to know that you're good enough now, and you can get better. You can always get better. And that's empowering to know that you can start something new. You can make a change in your life, but you need to believe that you can. And you're not going to believe that you can if you already don't trust yourself, if you already don't like yourself. If you've given up on yourself so many times, honor that accept that and know that you can evolve out of that. You can stay committed to your goal. You can commit yourself every day to reshaping the way you see yourself. So if every day you need to write down 5 affirmations, if every day you need to wake up and say, I love myself, I accept myself, I approve of who I am now, and I know I can get better. I know I can change, I can take baby steps every day. I can drink a glass of water every day. I can do some breathing every day. I can go outside every day. I can be patient and kind and non-judgmental and non-reactive. Every day I can practice these things. I can practice being calm, and every new habit is going to take practice, but you need to know that you are worth it. You are worth that effort to form that new habit. And then it only takes a little bit of effort at the beginning to form that habit, and then it just becomes a way of being, and it just becomes who you are, and it just becomes part of your everyday life. So if you are looking at incorporating changes into your life, and if you are looking at transforming yourself this year, just remember that you can make yourself a new version of yourself, but just make sure that you do that from a place of already loving who you are now, where you are now, and using that as fuel and excitement, you know, to go to the next level, and knowing that that might be uncomfortable, that might be scary even, because everything that is new is uncertain and it is scary, but just acknowledging, you know, that it's going to be worth it at the end. And I think having set so many goals at the beginning of this year and going through them one by one, yesterday I saw that I had actually achieved most of my goals, if not all of them. And it's just been amazing really to commit to myself from a place of love, and to continue, you know, just growing every year, seeing it as an opportunity, you know, to just become more of myself and to grow into more of myself. So it's been an amazing journey, definitely. I'm definitely excited for the new year. So thank you so much for being here with me, and I'm sending you so much peace and love into the new year.